And we're back. Welcome to a brand new fantasy football video on the channel. However, this is not an FPL video. It is an FUCL video as we launch our Champions League fantasy football for a brand new season. Now, the good news for any of you that both participated last year and participated in the Euro League that I ran last year, which was 450 of you, that league gets automatically refreshed. So the SO99 UEFA Fantasy Football League has been refreshed with the code JIFOWE for any of you that haven't actually joined yet. So hopefully we'll get a whole host of you in the SO99 League once again for a brand new season of Champions League football. I will also leave a link to join my league both in the description of this video and in the pinned comment at the top of this video. So let's see how many of you we can get involved for this UEFA Champions League fantasy football for a brand new season. Now, the important thing about Champions League, or should I say just UEFA fantasy football competitions in general, as opposed to the traditional Premier League fantasy football, is there are some rule changes when it comes to point scoring. So I'll bring the rules up for you now. The important changes are these ones here. Player of the match, 3 balls recovered, and balls outside the box. Now, player of the match is obviously something that you can't really predict. You're never going to go, oh, I think this player is going to get man of the match today. I'm going to put them in my team. But what you can do is you can pick players that are prolific at scoring from outside the box and players that are very prolific at winning the ball back. And that makes a massive difference when it comes to actually balancing out your team. Think of N'Golo Kante during the Euros. He was averaging like 7 points a game because he was getting 6 or 7, sometimes as many as 9 or 10 balls recovered a game, which was allowing him to score 2 or 3 points every match on top of the traditional appearance fees. Then add on that he got 2 Man of the Match awards as well, and you're looking at 9 or 10 points for a player that is just running around and winning the ball back, not just contributing at the other end of the pitch, which is what you're used to when you're picking your usual FPL players as opposed to Champions League. So, with that in mind, the first 2 players that I actually put in my team for my Champions League squad this year were Joshua Kimmich and Fede Valverde for a combined fee of 12.5 million euros. Now, when you consider the likes of Haaland, Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. are all 11 million euros, to get 2 midfielders that contribute at the other end of the pitch, as well as being heavily involved in winning the ball back, you are looking at some fantastic value for money when it comes to Kimmich and Valverde. Obviously, Kimmich also Bayern Munich set piece taker, so you're looking for him to get assists. Fede Valverde has already started getting assists for Madrid this season. He's a prolific long shotter, so I'm hoping to get goals from outside the box from him as well. But like I say, their ball recovery is what I'm hoping is going to give me the points from these 2 players over the course of the next few weeks. From there, I then went to my strikers, and I went for the highest goal contributing striker so far in Europe this season. And no, it's not Erling Haaland and it's not Mohamed Salah. It is Victor Gyökeres of Sporting Lisbon, who in 7 games so far this season for club and country has 15 goal contributions. That's 10 goals and 5 assists in 7 matches. And Sporting Lisbon have some really nice fixtures at the start of their Champions League campaign. So for me, this is an absolute must-have player at 7.5 million euros. You can keep your Haalands, you can keep your Salahs, because I've got Victor Gyökeres. Obviously, I do also have Haaland and Salah because I'm not stupid. They're still the 2 most likely players to get contributions in the Champions League this season. Yes, you have got the likes of Mbappe and Vinny and Kane and Lewandowski and etc, etc, etc. But Haaland and Salah are contributing on a much higher rate. I still think Real Madrid are trying to figure themselves out at the moment. Vinicius hasn't contributed at all this season for Brazil or for Real Madrid. Mbappe's got himself a couple. But if you're going for money in terms of players that are scoring and getting points in their respective leagues at the moment, Haaland, Salah and Gyökeres for me are the 3 must-haves right now. Keeping things Premier League, I've also gone for Watkins and Saka. I think the Premier League clubs are the sides you want to be looking at. I think Villa's fixtures, considering where they were in terms of the pots, I think their opening fixtures are really, really nice. I'm expecting Watkins to start coming good. There is obviously a debate over whether or not John Duran is going to start playing, whether or not that's going to be in the league or in the Champions League. So Watkins could be a bit of a risk. Bukayo Saka, for me, must have constant goal contributor for Arsenal. If I could sneak in Havertz up front, then I would have done that instead, but I couldn't quite do it. I still think Saka is more valuable than Havertz because Saka, of course, is Arsenal's penalty taker. And then rounding off my midfield, again, I think someone that you must have given how well he started his season, how well he played in the Euros, Mr. Lamine Yamal for 7.5, which is a little bit expensive if you ask me, but if he does keep contributing at the rate that he's already contributing, that 7.5 is going to end up looking like an absolute bargain. From there, we of course move on to the defence. And speaking of bargains, I have managed to pick myself up 2 €4 million defenders that so far have played 90 minutes in every single game for their clubs this season. And that is Lucas Beraldo and Thomas Araujo of PSG and Benfica respectively. And what's really good about both of these two players is, again, their fixtures are not that bad. PSG's aren't the best, but Benfica, again, considering where they're coming from in terms of the pots, Benfica's opening fixtures really aren't that bad. And both of these players so far this season have been doing well in terms of actual defensive stats. So again, if you remember the rules, every 3 balls recovered equals a point. So if you can get 3 tackles out of Beraldo or out of Araujo, you're looking at extra points for these guys, and they are 4 million, and they are playing every minute of every game for their clubs so far this season. So at €4 million each, absolutely fantastic value for money on each of them. That then allows me to have a little bit more of an attack-minded player, and that is where I have gone for Alex Grimaldo. Now, I could have had Grimaldo and Frimpong, but the problem is with Frimpong, especially in Europe, we saw it from Alonso last season, Frimpong wasn't playing every minute of every game. Grimaldo was the one that was starting all the time. He also just edged out Frimpong in terms of goal contributions last season. Both of them have already scored so far this season as well for Bayer Leverkusen. Their output is absolutely insane. Leverkusen's fixtures aren't the best, but this is what I'm saying. I've not got Grimaldo in this team to get me clean sheets. I've got Grimaldo in this team to get me contributions at the other end of the pitch. And I think at 5.5, not a full-blown 6 like the likes of Trent and Theo Hernandez, I think he's a really good pickup at 5.5. Sticking with 5.5, I have then gone for William Saliba. Again, one of the best defenders in world football, someone that is going to be consistently making tackles for Arsenal. And again, with Arsenal's tough start to the Champions League, he may not be getting clean sheets, but he's going to be getting those defensive points. And I think that is going to end up being crucial over the course of this season. However, I would like to have some players that are going to get myself clean sheets. So I'm actually going to break my own rule when it comes to double stacking in defence. And I'm actually going to go for both Schlotterbeck and Kerbal, both at €5 million. Fantastic value for money. Borussia Dortmund's first 2 fixtures are Bruges and then Celtic. Really good opportunities for clean sheets in both of those matches. Schlotterbeck was one of the highest point scorers last season, obviously because Borussia Dortmund made the Champions League final. But again, lots of tackles, which meant he was able to accumulate a lot of points just over the course of the season gradually. And obviously I've gone for Kerbal because he's a 5 million goalkeeper with a good chance of getting a clean sheet. That then leaves me 6 million left over to pick up a keeper who I think is going to get clean sheets. And that is one of my all-time favourite goalkeepers, Mr. Manuel Neuer. So that is my squad, a full 100 million budget spent. Balanced myself across all of the attributes as to how you want to contribute this year. I've got goal scorers, I've got ball winners, I've got creators, I've got defensive warriors, I've got outlandish attack-minded fullbacks and 2 really solid goalkeepers. All that is left is how I'm going to line up for that opening fixture. And like I say, provided no one gets injured, this is how I'm going to be lining up. The important thing to remember about Champions League fantasy football is that you can make substitutions during the game week, which is massive, especially on this opening week where there are actually 3 days of Champions League football. There are matches on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for this opening week. Then it goes back to just back to just Tuesday and Wednesday. So what you're supposed to do is fill out your lineup with players that are playing on the opening days and then substitute out anyone that underperforms for someone you think is going to do better on a later date. Equally, you can change your captain dynamically every single day as well. So I've gone for Gyökeres for the opening day because I think he's going to do really well on that opening day. If he underperforms, I can then switch it to Haaland for the second day. And then if Haaland underperforms, I can even then switch it to Bukayo Saka or Grimaldo or Yamal for the final day as well. So Plenty of flexibility as to how you actually do FPL this season. That is what my team is going to be. I will go back to the full squad so you can also see that code to join the league once again. JIFFOWE to get yourself involved in the SO99 League for a brand new Champions League fantasy football season. Thank you very much for watching. Good luck to any of you that are going to be joining. I'll see you again very, very soon.